Hey everybody, I'm here with Flynn from Electric City Surf Club, and what is great is always having an East Coast surf band on the show. Even better, one from Pennsylvania, and you can't get better than that. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Oh, thanks for having me, buddy. Seriously, it's a real treat, and I appreciate you reaching out and being able to fit this in after my work day and everything. So hell yeah, man, I'm excited to be here.
Dude, I am so stoked that we were able to fit this in before your break at the end of summer, and I want to talk about exactly what the Electric City Surf Club is. And for people who don't know the area, tell us about the band name, because it is pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, the Electric City, Lackawanna County gem. Scranton is the Electric City. There was a little television show about 15 years ago. It was kind of popular around here called The Office. And we're kind of known for that. But the Electric City, it's just the nickname of what it's been. We got a lot of great musicians from our area. The Menzingers, Tiger's Jaw, Title Fight are from 13, 15 miles down the road from Kingston, which was Wilkes-Barre, which I have to say, because you have to say it around here. I have what they call dual citizenship. I'm originally from Wilkes-Barre. I'm originally from Wilkes-Barre. I went to high school in Wilkes-Barre, lived there, but that is like that's Title Fight territory in those bands. But I met my wife, and I was always boogieing up to Scranton anyway to play shows and hang out. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's better at the two cities. I don't give a shit. It is what it is. I'm sorry if I'm not allowed to swear here. I'm sorry. I'll keep it clean. But okay. The Electric City is that's what it is, and I just thought, what would be something to really plant the flag of a surf band from Scranton? And it was kind of a no-brainer, and it was really one of those like. The simplicity was right here, and it's like, if you can't see that, you can't see it, then you don't deserve it, kind of a thing.
Before we get into the music, I want to say that I've been doing the podcast for about 5 years, and I'm noticing like more and more pockets of surf bands showing up in different parts of the country. In Pennsylvania, there's more and more starting up, and of course, you know, there was bands like the Menzingers who got pretty huge that were from there. In Philadelphia has some great spots that I hope I see you playing in soon. But what is your take on like the growing surf scene? That inspired you, being in Scranton, to start up a band?
Well, I'm gonna be completely honest, buddy, is that there is no surf scene here. This was not a sorry, my wife's headphones. It's like this is how she lives. It's like, this is weird. I think it was really a decision to say something like, I'm a veteran of the music scene. Like I've been in multiple punk bands in the area. I've 476 up and down playing in Philly and in Red Bank and Asbury Park and everything. And I boogie out to New Jersey, New York. I've done the miles. Like I remember paying the $8 to see the Menzingers play 1 mile from my house. I remember seeing the shows when they were all still local. So I'm not going to say I was there at the beginning, because it's not true, but I was in the scene for a good while. And the surf thing, I think, it wasn't necessarily like a passion thing of mine. I mean, the origin story is kind of funny about how this happened. I don't know if that's what you want to hear, but
oh yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, then, because then this might answer the question a little easier for you.
Sure.
All right. So I am, like I said, I'm a veteran of the scene. I've been and some of these posters behind me, I've played a lot of these, except for the Grateful Dead. That wasn't there, but obviously. But I've been in the scene a while, and I'm also like a folkie, but I was primarily in a punk-ish band called Those Clever Foxes. We were pretty regionally known. Played with Captain We're Sinking and bands like that, and great guys. But I'm primarily a folk musician. I play bluegrass. I like Woody Guthrie. I listen to Americana. I'm a primarily, in my mind, an acoustic guitar player. That doesn't mean I have a billion amps and guitars. I'll show you some stuff. But I'm also in another band called the Broke Pines. And the Broke Pines is very much a band that is very much in the lane of Tom Petty, Wilco, The Replacements, Television, Big Star. So early 70s rock, not Zeppelin or what you think of as early 70s with the Marshall stacks and stuff. We're talking about the guys who were in a garage, drinking beer, and harmonies were more important than 15-minute guitar solos. So we're like that. So what I had sometimes I'm on and off the road a little bit, playing around and everything, and I'm obviously married, I have 2 dogs, and I would say that I'll get to this here. How this happened was I was playing a lot of Fallout 4, the video game, and if you're familiar with the game, they play a lot of old-timey music. Now I love old-timey music. I love 50s music and 60s stuff. Also, at the same time, I was really getting back into jazz. I love jazz. So I was listening to, primarily this runaround, I was listening to a lot of Dave Brubeck, Charles Mingus, and Miles Davis. But you can listen to Miles Davis on a fucking Wednesday night if you want. It is what it is. It's Miles Davis. So also in that context was, I happen to have it right here. Was I bought this guitar and I modded it, and I love Fender instruments. I'm a big Fender guy. So, I was playing with this, and primarily when you think, guys in my scene, when you pick up a Jazz Master, they're trying to do Sonic Youth, My Bloody Valentine, that sound, that grungy, Dinosaur Jr. thing. And I just one day was modding this guitar. I have a beautiful Fender amp over there, and I was messing around with it, and I just went, I went, okay, all right. What about my life fixing the guitar? 2 days later, I went, and then I went, and then I started incorporating some of the bluegrass chops that I have from like Billy Strings right now is like the #1 bluegrass guy in the world. But I listen to a lot of like Tony Rice and the older guys. But Tony Rice primarily is a guitar player that I really gravitate to. So I started incorporating some of the syncopations. I don't want to use a big word. It is Friday. Just the syncopations on my Jazz Master, and then I was just like, okay. But also, my wife is really into the Beachwood, so listening to a lot of that. And then, and I was, because we're playing Fallout a lot, that 50s music, 60s music, I was getting into the Ventures. Now, I knew who the Ventures were. I have a copy of Walk Don't Run. I know all about them. But it wasn't necessarily my pure thing. However, what happened was it just slowly started to go, okay. And then I started digging around, and I started seeing bands like the Baba Louies out of Canada, the Mavericks out of California, Slowy and the Boat out of Philly, guys like that. Yeah, a lot of guys like that. And then I started going, oh shit, this is a thing. Now, I've only ever been in 2 lanes my whole musical career in Scranton. The punk DIY scene, which is your Menzingers, your Tiger Jaw, your Title Fights, Bounce Composures, and then you have the Gaslight Anthem out there, and then you got Mercy Union, who's a great local, great band from Red Bank. You love those guys. And then the folk Americana scene, which is a whole goddamn mountain of anybody who's got a pair of Levi's and a Stetson hat and a Martin, that's it. You know what it is? So, but I was like, what is this world that nobody talks about? What is this little scene here that I know? Like, what the shit is this? And I just loved it. And then I had a couple conversations with my wife, and I said, what if I did this? What if I did this? And then she turned into, let's do it. And then I did my homework, and I bought a bunch of records that I knew, but I never quite pulled the trigger on. And I listened to a lot of bands, surf bands. And then next thing I know, I was like, yo, this is starting to turn into a thing, and if it's going, go with it. And that's kind of how that happened. But if there's other bands that are surf related in PA, I'm gonna be honest, you don't come through Lackawanna or Luzerne County, because I would have known about it. So if they're out there, I would love to see them. Like those guys like Slow in the West down in the Slow in the boat. Those guys down in Philly. I didn't know about them until I was like, oh shit, look at this. So it's kind of new. Like I only cracked the code. It's there's still a lot of pages to be turned as far as I'm concerned with my digging into this world.
Yeah. Well, finding surf through the Babaloonies, let me tell you, you should have started way lower, because the Babaloonies are fucking fantastic.
Dude.
And Slowly in the Boats, like anything that you'll find, like those guys are both on High Tide.
Yeah.
If you just like go through the High Tide catalog, you really can't go wrong.
Yo, and funny enough, I reached out to High Tide, and I couldn't fucking believe that they said, yeah, man, we'll check this out. Well, they checked out the record. I was like, give me a fucking break.
Really?
And nothing's on the line. I don't want to commit to nothing, but they said, we'll listen to it. That was it. So I was like, and then they were just bullshitting with me for a couple days. Might go nowhere, might go somewhere. I don't know. But I reached out to the Babaloonies and those other guys, and they all were like, two things. They all were like, hey man, that's pretty cool. We'll listen to it. And then, oh shit, The Office, dude. I love The Office.
Yeah.
So they were fantastic. And then like the Mavericks and stuff, those guys, great music. And I'm just like, where's this been? And how have I not known about it? But the Babaloonies, man, I was telling everybody, I was like, you gotta check this out. Like, this is some wild shit. And
yeah, they're no joke.
No, they're not. They're good. Serious as a heart attack good.
So, well, it's really exciting. People, right now, they can find you on Spotify. Hopefully in the future, something with High Tide. Hopefully, a Bandcamp situation will open up for you. Because I know not only is that beneficial to bands to get their music out there and a place to buy it, and sell your merch, but there is a really, really extensive surf community where the bands seem to really find a way to connect with each other. Radio stations, zines, I'm on there. You'll find just about every surf band on Bandcamp. So consider that, even if you don't sell your own things on there, that's a good place to find them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Bandcamp was like the way to go back how many years ago.
Yeah. But
you're 100% right, man. I mean, I was shocked at how quickly you gotta understand, this whole thing was like, I've never been on a surfboard in my life. I'm not gonna paint some fucking photo of but that doesn't mean I didn't always respect it. And I always loved Tiki culture, and I always loved Beachwood. Like I said, growing up, I loved the ventures and everything. But again, it was always back here because I was always a folkie. But I immediately found out that how quick and how hungry this community is, and it's very refreshing. And I got to be honest about that I've had a lot of bands and people reach out to me since I've done this. And this is very new. And Ryan, you immediately were just like, dude, like, what is this? You're from Scranton, PA. There's a surf band. And I think that might have played to the strength a little bit here, because like people immediately go, a surf band in Scranton. And then they look at it and then it's like, I hope I did okay on the EP, because I had
absolutely. I loved it.
Oh, okay, great. I had an agenda I was trying to hit, and I had a very specific points I was trying to make and things I wanted to do. So I had no one to please other than my wife. You know what I mean? Like, if she liked it, this was a victory in my book. But in my mind, I was like, I was just kind of like very specific. And the guys that played on that record are some of my best friends, and I played with them for years. So they weren't just random ass musicians I hired. we play well together. So, but we never played well together in this arena because they were certainly like, what the fuck is this? You know? But they, like, for instance, there's the Pulp Fiction poster behind it. The last song on the EP, the Nerdy Spice theme.
Yes.
We were listening to that, listening to the idea and stuff, and I couldn't articulate exactly how I had a vibe. And then I literally just said, it was Eric Ritter who produced the engineered the record of the Windmill Agency. He's a local guy. Plug Eric, great guy. Musicians, go check out the Windmill Agency. Steve Warner on drums and Tom Lopes on bass. We were kind of like, where is this going? Because it had a floaty vibe, but there was no ground like the other songs. So I literally just said, fuck it, pulled out my phone, pulled up the Pulp Fiction soundtrack in the scene where John Travolta does the heroin and then goes in the convertible to pick up Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
I said, let's do this. That's how this song should sound. Like, got it, go, that's it. That was it. Did it like that. So it was one of those, like, I said, we have to look at it like this. We have to look at this like jazz, but very, 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 very dumbed down jazz. Where I said, your first instinct is the instinct we're going with. And if you commit, it's going on the record. There's no second guessing here. We have maybe 2 or 3 takes, but the energy cannot drop below 100. Regardless if you fuck up, it has to be on a pure vibe. And there has to be an energy, a cohesive through line on this fucking thing. So I think that's why it has such like a fun, but like, what's going on here kind of thing. And I think that's one of the fun things about it that I love so much.
I love that you said that.
What?
I love that you approached it that way, because I do that. That's exactly the way I always approached music when I was in a band. But I also, when I do interviews, I say, once I hit record, like, that's it, you know, works at all. Unless there's like some major technical glitch, I don't edit things out. Because, or go back and do it over. Very rarely does that happen. Only because you tend to lose something that you don't have like the first or second take at something. You kind of lose like the vibe of you and I getting to meet each other for the first time, you know, and have a conversation. There's something in that moment when a friendship or a conversation or a song is created that is lost the more it's you know, you try to replicate it.
Yeah, and you know what? It's so funny you should say that, because the one song on the record called Geisha Geisha, which was that weird little Japanese intro thing. Then you probably already know what I'm talking about. Then that Ventures documentary. You know what? You've probably seen it a billion times. But I loved how in the documentary they mentioned how the Japanese were like really, really into the tiki 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 part and that whole little thing. So I was like, and then I went down that rabbit hole of like Japanese surf music. I was like,
you're like Aleki and
I was like, this is a whole fucking kettle of fish I'm not quite ready for. It's there. I'll get to it. You know,
it's wild. It's pretty wild.
My wallet is not ready to dump those records. You know, but the thing about that was I had. I know you're a gearhead guy, because I know before we were mentioning like, you know, some stuff. I had this guitar pedal. This is a way huge Geisha drive.
Oh shit.
So,
nice.
George Trips, what up? Call me. So the distortion sound you hear on the whole record is this distortion pedal, but I wrote the riff with this turn. It's very, I don't really dig distortion. Now, me being a musician as long as I have, I don't fuck with distortion, or I fuck with a little bit of fuzz, but I'm an overdrive guy. I'm a very simple tube screamer through a nice, just on the other side of broken up kind of guy, which is really fucking weird, because Neil Young is like one of my heroes, and that guy, his amps are like begging for relief, you know, when you listen to his music. It's like Cortez the Killer is like, that's fucking cooked. But I just turned the drive all the way down on this pedal, and it was like that for most of it. And the sound you hear on the opening of that, and that riff, the was this. And I also did some guitar solos with that pedal, with that Jazz Master. There's only 2 guitars on the whole record. The whole record took 4.5 hours to make. So, oh no, dude, there was no fucking around, because Steve who played the drums, he had to go to another gig, and he showed up 10 a.m., which is a perfect time to make surf music. He never heard the songs. Tom and Steve never heard the songs. I showed them briefly the riffs, so there was no real structure. Again, which is why my philosophy of the jazz philosophy of what Miles Davis did with Kind of Blue, not comparing myself to Miles Davis, but that mindset of what do you got? I said I have sketches. That's all I had. So all I have is the riff. So Steve's a brilliant musician. He knows theory. He's a great drummer. So I said to him, you have the hardest job here. You need to do this. And now musicians will get this. You listen to the record, it's 14 minutes long. It's like you hear it, if you're just averagely listening to it, great. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Musicians will listen to it. The drums are 2 parts. Every song is just an A and B part. And I said, you need to write an A and B part, and the hardest part is writing the bridge. So you need to go A, bridge, B, A, bridge, like that. And you need to do that, condense it in 1 minute and 45 seconds. Okay. And he's that good that he went, okay, what are you doing? All right, how's the riff go? Okay, got it. Tom Lopes, my best friend, bass player. It's on my Instagram of him actually recording. Never heard the songs. I wrote the chords down, and I deliberately wrote everything down as a 1-4-5 or a 1-5-4 to make it simple. And I just said C, E, A, G, A, E. There it is. Those are the songs. Okay, we sat and listened to it. How did that? Good. Go. That's it. That was it. 4.5 hours or so. It was no stop, no stopping. There might have been a 6-pack of beer and a sandwich. That was it. Just go.
That's awesome. That's
awesome.
Man. I love that idea, because like I'm gonna honestly, I come from like a punk hardcore background, but I started off playing like jazz and stuff, like in jazz band in high school, and I was in believe it or not, at the same time I was in jazz band, I was in a thrash band with my high school friends, and then later on hardcore and punk. So I get the mentality is all about feeling and knowing where you're going and just kind of feeling your way through it, and that approach is amazing, because that album is really, really groove oriented, and you could tell you kind of felt your way through it, and that was really, 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 really great explanation of, one of the best explanations of how a song is put together that I've had on the show.
Oh man, well I appreciate that, and I have to give the tip of the hat again to Tom Lopes on bass. I've known Tom for almost 20 years now. We've been in punk bands together. We were in, I don't know if you're familiar with the Wilkes-Barre scene, but there was a place called Cafe Metro where bands like Motionless in White played the last ever show there. Like, they cut their teeth there. That was where all the scene bands played. So all the bands that I mentioned before, all there. The Gaslight, like Big D and the Kids Table have a really famous show where they played in the parking lot there, and it's infamous because they played LAX in the parking lot or something. But Tom's a metal guy. He's a metal goth guy. Like, he loves The Cure. He loves that dark shit, and he loves metal. And it's so weird that him and I collaborate musically. But I mean, again, we are bros. He was the best man at my wedding, for God's sakes. So he fucking loves heavy music, and he's done metal projects and stuff. But he's got the best pocket. Oh, he's got such a pocket. And Steve has the other half of that equation where Steve knows how to play that, because Steve plays all kinds of different stuff, and he's in the Broke Pines with me, so like we practice once a week together, for God's sakes, on top of other recording sessions. So and I'm like, if we don't fucking know how to play together by now, then brother, there's a fucking problem, you know. He's easy to rely on, but the three of us were so out of our element here, and again, it was so quick. But the funny thing about it was, 25 minutes into this day, 35 minutes into this day, it went from we're doing Sean a favor to, by the end of it, it was, wait a second, this is actually really good. This is a lot of fun. Let's do another take. Let's hear that back. I'll make sure I didn't fuck that up, because I really am enjoying it. And it was really interesting to see those two guys. And they've known each other, they're buddies, so it's not like the three of us are peas in a pod. The three of us were definitely like, wait a minute, there's something here. There's something here. And it was not quite, it just was so fucking quick. And if my only druther about the EP is from listening to the Baba Louie so much, because I actually fell in love with that band. I really did. King of the Surf song. That King of the Surf song off of Late to the Party. I have it sitting right over here. That's a great fucking song. They're so clean. And that was another reason why a piece of the puzzle that I love this music was, I'm an obsessive when it comes to Fender music, Fender equipment.
Yeah, the tone.
No, the tone, exactly. You get it. So I love 50s Fender, early 60s, and also again, like I'm a country western guy, so those Telecasters through Tweed amps, like those and the twin steels and everything like that. We have some great bands here in Scranton that utilize those tools. I fucking go see them every week if I could, and I did. So all playing Fender shit. So I love Fender. Like I have a book about the history of it, and I think that's why I also gravitated a little bit to this music, was it's clean. And you have to have your chops together if you're going to play clean, which is why I like acoustic guitar, because, if you put, you turn the fucking gain up to 10 and you play Kiss, all right, the guitar and the amp are doing 85% of the work. You give that person an acoustic guitar or a clean amp, not going to sound the same. Your ass is out there,
You're the mistakes.
Yeah, you're the mistake. So I think it's also on that level of musicianship that I respect and love, which is, that's how I think that way, because I'm a working musician. So it's like, it's like I like to play at a caliber that's expected of me, and I hope to have the same level of musicianship with the guys around me, and we all make each other better. So that mentality of like, no, these guys know how to play. Well, I'm not worried about it. It's like, I can't fuck up. And they're like, well, Sean, and they said, well, Sean knows what he's doing, allegedly, so that jazz mentality of like your ass is on the line. If you're going with it, play your fucking card, because you only get one shot, and that's how it was.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's how we do it in Scranton.
Nice. Though before we sign off, I do want to ask. There was a club that my band played at. I believe it was with the Overdrives in right in 2000 or 99 or something like that. In music.
CC's.
Yep.
CC's.
Was it? What was it called again?
CC's.
Yes. And I'm not sure if it's there anymore, but we traveled all the way up there. There was a few bands, punk bands at the time, that we really, really wanted to play with. In the Overdrive. What's that?
Side Over, one of them?
I can't remember. I know one of them was the Overdrives, because I was such a fan of them. Walter Krug. Now we're talking like coming right out of the 90s scene. So it was right close to the end of when the band ended. it was a lot of pop punk, and we were a little on the harder, faster tip, you know. But anyways, I wanted to thank you so much, and it is a vibrant music scene, like, you know, Scranton to Wilkes-Barre to music in that whole area. And as soon as I saw Scranton, I was like, well, if I don't reach out to this guy who's creating this music, I'm like, I'm not doing my job. I need to talk to you, and I'm so glad I did, because I really enjoyed the music, and now hearing the approach that you took, it's just intriguing me more, and I can't wait to hear the record when it comes out.
Yeah, man, it's you know, to circle what you said there, man, is like we got a little. This area is the soil is rich in Northeast Pennsylvania, and the fucking problem is, man, there's nowhere to play. That's sin. There's nowhere to play up here. And you would think a place like Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is on the map for just being on the fucking map, there's nowhere to play. There's like a club that I don't want to say the name of the club, because I know I'm good buddies with the owner, and I don't want to paint it in the wrong light. So that's why I just don't want to say it out of respect. But he catered to the original local scene, and he really rolled the dice. And it's a bar. And he invested a lot of money in sound and stage and everything. But he found out that he was making 5 times what he was doing with the cover bands, and it was like, kind of, you know what I mean? And there were some great places to play up here, but one by one, they folded. COVID really did a number on the area as well. It was it's a thing, and it's a shame, because there's a lot of great bands. University Drive, Estacota, Rosary Guild, these bands. I mean, my Brendan Brisk band, a lot of these great guys that I love to see. And the Broke Pines, American Buffalo Ghost is my folk thing. It's a collective garden of musicians up here, but man, I wish we were able to find that one place that we could all sit together on those Friday and Saturday nights and be like home. Because we haven't had it in a minute, and it's really sad.
Please join our Patreon page to get special behind-the-scenes footage and segments exclusive to Patreon, YouTube updates, also a sneak peek at what's coming next week, merch, and also services, free flash drive exclusively for segments in the band.